Creed 2 is directed by Caple Jr. and it stars Michael B. Jordan, Sylvester Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, Florian Munteanu, and Tessa Thompson. It's been a few years since the first Creed movies, both in real life and story-wise, and Creed is now the world champion, and under the tutelage Rocky Balboa, he fights off against a contender named Victor Drago, son of Ivan Drago. I, as many others, was very surprised, pleasantly so, by the first Creed film. It was an excellent movie, made it to my top 10 movies of 2015, and so I went into this film with a lot of excitement. The Rocky franchise means a lot to me. I have a lot of heart going into this, and that was one of the things that I really like about the first Creed. And Caple Jr., this is his first major motion picture, and the dude kills it. This film, one of the things that it takes down a notch is that it is formulaic, but so are all these films. There's not a way that you can make these films without it being formulaic. There's a recipe that you follow and you have a great dish at the end. You are expecting to have a great dish with this recipe and it works. Creed 2 is a really good film, and something that really surprised me because they are going with the Dragos was how cheesy would this film be. And I was very surprised to find out that it is actually one of the most emotional films in this franchise. It has arcs for every single character in it. Adonis Creed, now the world champion, feels like he has something to prove. Not to himself, not in the sense that he was a mistake like in the first film. He has something more to prove. There's this weight on his shoulders about the wrong that was done to his father before, and he feels like he needs to avenge him. But very much so is Ivan Drago, with a weight on his shoulders because of what happened with his fight against Rocky. Drago in this film lost everything 30 years ago, and so what drives him is the tutelage of his son and making him become even better than what he was. And so there's a lot of friction between these two characters, and there's a lot of friction between Creed and Rocky. And as I said, all these characters go through really great arcs in this film, and they really got me to emotional places. I was tearing up through several spots in this film. There's a particular scene where Rocky is talking to Adonis when he is in the hospital, and that scene really got me going. There's another scene where Michael B. Jordan is talking to Tessa Thompson, and he's talking about how box is what he loves to do. He doesn't do it just because his father did it. There's a lot more in this film from the very beginning. It takes its time in building what is the conflict and what is the emotional weight going on with these characters, and it fleshes them out continuously as it happened throughout this franchise. It doesn't just forget what happened in previous films, it progresses those arcs. And so I found myself not really rooting for anyone in terms of who I want to win a boxing match, but really invested in the arcs of these characters and their emotional journey, fathers and sons and trainers and trainees, and it was just a really heavily emotional film. All the performances are fantastic. Michael B. Jordan, surprisingly Dolph Lundgren, and even Florian Munteanu, but I do have to give a special shout out to Sylvester Stallone, who, my god, he gives his all in these films. I'll take any crappy, Stallone, cheesy, lacking in substance action film if it means I'll get a Creed performance like he does in the previous film and in this one. And I'm not going to forget the training montages. Again, instead of being cheesy, Caple Jr. manages to put a lot of emotion into these training montages. There's a lot of stake even in the training montages, and they are very different from the ones we've seen before. Of course, they are all training montages, good music playing in the background, but it just really gets you going. Again, I found myself not necessarily rooting for any of them, but just I want to see their arcs fleshed out. I'm not gonna lie, there are moments in the film that don't quite work. There's this little scene with Michael B. Jordan in the gym with a baby, and that scene could have been taken out. I could have done without that scene because the point of that scene is explicitly in the moment where he talks to Tessa Thompson about why he loves to box. And while I love Rocky's arc in this film, it does feel a bit like it's introduced and finished with a lot of dialogue and not necessarily a lot happening on screen. As I mentioned before, this film does follow a formula. All the Rocky films follow a formula, even the first one, and the consecutive sequels do follow that formula, and some manage to be great in some ways, emotional ways, and others manage to be great in cheesy ways. I love Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. Don't expect Creed 2 to get you the way Creed 1 does, but do be surprised by how good this film is, especially coming from a first-time filmmaker. This film blew all the expectations away. I'm going to give Creed 2 a B+. Guys, what did you think of Creed 2? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know how do you rank the Rocky franchise in the comments below as well. I would put this film in my top 5 Rocky movies, as well as the first Creed. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. A lot more reviews coming soon. Can't wait to see you there. And so until then, you stay beautiful and you stay geeky. And if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and the bell so you can be geeky united.